the third year of forcing Ethan Hayes into his life, Alex Thorne was diagnosed with cancer. The surgery required a family member's signature, but Alex had no family, only Ethan. When he dialed the number, a cold laugh came through the line. Caleb's voice, telling him he'd be better off dying outside. Alex laughed softly back, his voice a silken threat. He agreed, adding that Ethan shouldn't come looking for him then. The phone had accidentally been on speaker, and the entire consultation room had heard the exchange. Alex offered an apologetic smile to the doctor before rising to leave. His assistant, Liam, followed him out, his voice careful. He tentatively mentioned that the voice from the phone didn't sound like Mr. Hayes. Alex paused by a trash can on the bustling New York street, took the diagnostic report from Liam's hands, and dropped it inside. He knew he replied calmly. Ethan was a man of breeding. He wouldn't say something so venomous. At most, Ethan would frown and tell him to stop fooling around. A strange smile touched Alex's lips at the thought. Ethan surely thought this was just another one of his manipulative games, a new way to torment him. The timing was too perfect, after all. The moment Ethan went to visit Caleb for a simple cold, Alex called with a cancer diagnosis. He imagined Ethan, standing by, silently permitting Caleb to answer, believing Alex's methods to be despicable and unreasonable. Knowing Ethan was listening, Alex had still needed to say it to stay away. Before hanging up, he added one more thing, a promise made specifically for Caleb to hear. He said not to worry, that in 3 months at most he would give Ethan back to him. A small sliver of hope for his dear half-brother. As they walked away from the hospital, a sudden weight settled on his shoulders. He glanced over to find Liam's suit jacket draped over him. The city wind was fierce, whipping the tie at Liam's throat. Alex's gaze traveled up to the younger man's impeccably composed face, a mask of calm. He remembered the whispers from the junior staff that Liam was from a wealthy family that owned its own corporation. No one understood why he'd chosen to be an assistant at another firm. Alex asked how long Liam had been with him. 3 years short 1 month. Alex couldn't help but chuckle. He'd assumed Liam was just a rich kid playing at having a job, never expecting him to last this long. He took the jacket off and draped it back over Liam's shoulders as they walked. He asked what Liam planned to do next, and when silence followed, he joked about writing him a letter of recommendation for another company. A warmth spread across his back as the jacket was returned to his shoulders. Liam stated he wasn't leaving. Alex glanced at him, not breaking his stride, and asked what he planned to do. Wait around to collect his corpse? Liam's composure finally cracked. He reminded Alex of the name he used for him when they were overseas. Alex turned, his expression unreadable. Liam met his gaze for a moment before his eyes dropped, respectfully murmuring the 2 words, "Mr. Thorne." Alex smiled and patted his shoulder. Since Liam insisted on the title, he declared their relationship would remain strictly professional. Liam's dark, bright eyes were filled with unspoken words, but in the end, he said nothing, just lowered his head and agreed. Ethan's visit to his ex stretched to 3 days. On the 4th evening, Alex returned to a cold, empty apartment. He pulled out his phone and composed a text, an ultimatum. He wanted to see Ethan within 2 hours, or he would go directly to Caleb. After sending it, he tossed the phone aside and went to the bar cart, pulling out several bottles of expensive scotch. Ethan detested being ordered around, and he hated it even more when Alex used Caleb as a threat. But Alex had tried pleading and soft words to no avail. Sometimes tearing things down was the only way, to achieve his goals by any means necessary. That was Ethan's assessment of him. And he was right. The first time he saw Ethan was in a hospital. Alex was visiting his paralyzed father when his stepmother started screaming at him, calling him an ungrateful wolf and threatening to throw a cup of scalding coffee in his face. A hand shot out and pulled him back. It was Ethan who had been there visiting Caleb. He had spun Alex behind him, taking the brunt of the hot liquid on his own back. It was summer, and the skin from his neck down had turned a raw, angry red. Caleb had looked at Alex with pure fire in his eyes, but Ethan was already smoothing things over, his voice calm, his every gesture radiating a refined grace. After spending so long in the darkness, seeing someone so luminous was intoxicating. A little digging revealed that Caleb was also smitten with him, which only made Alex want him more. But Ethan told him he preferred Caleb's type. Alex mulled over that, then promptly canceled Caleb's CR cards. By then, Alex had already driven his father's company into bankruptcy. Caleb, coddled his whole life, had even hired people to write his graduate school papers. A useless person like that couldn't survive without a source of income. As expected, Caleb broke up with Ethan. Unexpectedly, Ethan told Caleb he could support him. He was a Ph.D. in chemistry. He could sell patents to provide for them. So they got back together, and Caleb flaunted it in Alex's face. But that was fine. Caleb's mother still depended on Alex for her lifestyle. He gave Caleb two options: go abroad and actually study, or he would have his mother committed. Caleb chose the former, demanding an exorbitant amount for tuition. Alex paid it, considering it hush money. After the breakup, Ethan was a wreck. Alex found him drunk in a downtown bar and took him to a hotel. In his stupor, Ethan held Alex and whispered Caleb's name. Alex slapped him hard and used his body to force Ethan to say his name over and over until he was fully lucid. Then he took him. It didn't take long for a man as smart as Ethan to figure out that Alex had forced Caleb away. It was the first day of his captivity. Ethan, enraged, broke the restraints and unleashed all his hatred onto Alex's body. It was no joke. Alex was bedridden for 2 days after. Ethan was a tough nut to crack, but his one weakness was a sliver of conscience. Because Alex funded his research projects, upgraded his lab equipment, and hired the best specialists for his ailing parents, Ethan eventually compromised and moved in with him. His attitude was always lukewarm, but Alex didn't care. In bed, everything became hot. He had Ethan's body, if not his heart. He had won something. A month ago, Caleb returned to the country. Ethan knew but didn't go to see him. For a moment, Alex had the illusion he could keep him like this forever. But a few days ago, Caleb caught a cold, and Ethan rushed over without a second thought. It was different for someone you truly loved. The memory was cut short as Alex reached for another bottle. The electronic lock on the front door beeped. A second later, the dark living room was flooded with light. The sudden brightness was blinding. When Alex lowered his arm, he saw Ethan frowning in disgust. His gaze swept over the empty bottles on the coffee table, his frown deepening. That scowl the moment he walked in. The old Alex would have snapped at him, but now he felt nothing, just a placid stillness. As he reached for the bottle again, Ethan grabbed his arm and pulled him to his feet. Alex swayed for a moment before finding his balance. He casually asked how his dear brother was doing. Ethan didn't answer. A wall of silence. Alex chuckled, hooking an arm around Ethan's neck and whispering, asking if they had slept together. Alex, Ethan's voice was low, his face tight with anger. Alex ignored him, his hands slipping under Ethan's shirt, a smirk playing on his lips as he said he needed to check. Ethan's behavior tonight was strange. He actually leaned in to kiss him, but Alex turned his head away. He clung to Ethan's shoulders, his voice weak as he asked if he was good in bed. Ethan's brow furrowed, but he remained silent. Sweat dripped onto Alex's collarbone. He closed his eyes, raising a hand to wipe the moisture from Ethan's chin as he arched his hips in cooperation. "Then why can't you stop?" He received no answer. He covered his eyes with his arm, his mind drifting back to that first day, the punishing, furious reprisal. That day was for Caleb. What was tonight for? He laughed silently, emptying his mind, too tired to search for an answer. After what felt like an eternity, Ethan finally seemed to be finishing. He bit down on the side of Alex's neck, holding for over a minute. Once his breathing evened out, he lifted his head and spoke heavily. He said he hadn't. Alex's body was exhausted to its limit. He mechanically turned his head. "What?" Ethan went silent again, got up, and walked straight to the bathroom. When Ethan came out of the shower, Alex was leaning against the headboard, smoking a cigarette. Ethan glanced at him, then went into the walk-in closet for a fresh set of sheets. After placing them on the chaise lounge, he moved as if to pick Alex up. Alex held up a hand to stop him, his voice flat. He told him not to bother, that he should sleep in the guest room tonight. Ethan stood by the bed, his face a mask of frustration. He asked what Alex was up to now. A silent laugh escaped Alex's lips. He took a slow drag from his cigarette before looking up. He explained that while Ethan was away, he'd been thinking. A relationship is a two-way street. If one person constantly gives without receiving anything back, eventually the well runs dry. He admitted that no matter how much he once liked him, 3 years of this had worn it all away. Ethan's brow furrowed deeply as he asked what that meant. Through the hazy smoke, Alex's lips curved into a smile. He was free. The next morning, he was surprised to find a bagel and a cup of coffee on the kitchen island. A rarity, but he hated tomatoes in his bagel and he didn't drink coffee. Caleb, on the other hand, loved both. He snapped a picture and sent it to Caleb, a silent message to hurry up and claim what was his. His big brother Ethan was still thinking of him. Upon arriving at the office, Liam knocked and entered just as Alex sat down. He began to ask if Mr. Thorne had eaten, but a sudden wave of nausea hit Alex. He held up a hand, signaling Liam to wait, and rushed to the private bathroom. He retched until black spots danced in his vision, the metallic taste of blood coating his tongue. When there was nothing left, he stood up, a hand steadying his trembling body. Liam handed him a glass of warm water. As Alex rinsed his mouth, Liam gently rubbed his back. When he set the glass down, Liam was there with a paper towel to dry his mouth. When he went to wash his hands, Liam even looked like he wanted to help. The moment their fingertips brushed, Alex stopped him. That was enough. Liam froze, taking a stiff step back and apologizing. The only sound was the running water. Alex sighed inwardly. He was about to say something, but when he looked up, the words died. In the mirror, Liam's gaze was fixed on the side of his neck, where a small, red mark peeked out from the edge of his shirt collar. Alex slowly lowered his eyes and continued washing his hands. He asked what Liam had wanted to ask him earlier. He turned off the faucet, but still heard no answer, so he called his name again, louder this time. The lost puppy finally snapped back to reality, hastily averting his gaze and asking if he had eaten breakfast. Walking back to his desk, Alex saw a multi-layered thermal container. He pointed to it, asking if Liam had brought it for him. Liam confirmed it, saying he'd made it himself. The first few attempts had been failures, but today's was decent. Seeing Alex's silence, Liam moved to take it away. Alex stopped him, telling him to leave it. Liam's blank expression made Alex laugh. He patted his shoulder and thanked him, saying he wasn't hungry now but would eat it when he was. It was strange. Liam's previously gloomy eyes instantly lit up. Alex teased him, asking if he had stars hidden in his eyes, the way they sparkled. Liam blinked, his lips parting as if to speak, the tips of his ears turning a visible shade of red. Perhaps realizing it himself, he said nothing and turned to flee. He worked through the morning, and the breakfast Liam brought became his lunch. Opening the container, he took out the layers one by one: yam porridge, steamed black rice cakes, savory egg custard. The bottom layer was filled with shelled pistachios. Near the end of the day, a payment reminder from a long-term care facility popped up on his phone. Conveniently, his last stop for the day was there. When he got to the parking garage, he saw Liam waiting by his car. Liam explained that the regular driver, Lee, had a parent-teacher conference and had asked him to cover. Alex remembered Lee mentioning it. He hadn't expected him to find a replacement. He tossed the car keys to Liam, who caught them, unlocked the car, and opened the passenger door for him. Alex stood still, raising an eyebrow. Liam immediately realized his mistake and rushed to open the back door. Alex smiled, walked over, and tapped the hand on the rear door handle before getting into the passenger seat. He told him to get in, that they were in a hurry. There was a flower shop across from the facility. Liam asked if he wanted to buy a bouquet. Alex waved his hand dismissively. It would be a waste for a man who could only move his eyes. When he entered the room, a caregiver was there, wiping his father's, Thomas Thorne's, face. Alex asked him to step out, then pulled a chair to the bedside. 3 years ago, Thomas would glare at him with rage. Now he could face him with a placid calm. Alex announced that he was there to pay the bills and asked why his father wasn't smiling at him. Thomas's cloudy eyes filled with resentment, and he closed them in defiance. Alex smiled, picking up a washcloth to wipe his hands. He questioned what right Thomas had to hate him. When Alex was 13, the day after his mother was buried, Thomas brought a woman and her son home. Alex had seen the woman before, in his mother's hospital room, repeatedly agitating her until her heart gave out. The boy, Caleb, was only a year younger than him. Just because Alex didn't respond when Caleb called him brother, Thomas kicked him. That kick left him with a chronic stomach ailment. When Caleb was bullied at school by older students, Alex watched impassively. When they got home, Caleb said nothing, but Alex still received a brutal beating for failing to protect his younger brother. It was an endless cycle. Before he was 16, he couldn't understand how they always found so many reasons to hit and curse him. After he turned 16, when they threw him out of the house, he finally understood. It was called achieving a goal by any means necessary. He learned. After turning 18, he used the trust fund his mother left him to buy a gaming studio. From then on, he navigated dinner parties and business meetings, building connections, sacrificing his pride, dignity, and health, all for the day his company could acquire Thomas's. 3 years ago, he succeeded. Thomas was on his way to confront him when he got into a car accident, turning him into the shell he was today. He took the washcloth and began wiping his father's face. As he did, the cloth accidentally covered his mouth and nose. Thomas's eyes flew open, gradually filling with terror. Alex spoke softly, saying he had dreamed of his mother last night. She had asked if he had taken care of the flowers in her garden. He slowly raised his hand, pressing the cloth over Thomas's mouth and nose, his voice gentle. He explained there were no flowers left in the garden. The day Thomas brought that woman home, she had the entire garden bulldozed. When Alex confronted her, she claimed a pollen allergy. And Thomas? He had slapped Alex and forced him to apologize to her. But later, for her birthdays, for every holiday, Thomas would send her flowers. So many flowers. Thomas's face turned a deep purple. Alex's smile vanished, his expression hardening. He asked if his father could feel what it was like to suffocate. He reminded him that when that woman knew his mother was mentally fragile, she provoked her again and again. The suffering Thomas was enduring now wasn't even a fraction of his mother's. Thomas's eyes looked ready to burst from their sockets. Alex tossed the cloth aside, watching him gasp for air. After a long moment, Alex stood up and dropped a CR card on the bedside table. This was the last time he would see him. From now on, whether the three of them lived or died had nothing to do with him. The door to the room had been left ajar. When he pushed it open, he saw Liam's hastily retreating back. Alex stood in the doorway, taking out a handkerchief to meticulously wipe his fingers. A few seconds later, a shadow fell over him. It was Liam, holding out his phone, explaining that Mr. Hayes had been calling nonstop, so he thought he should bring it up. Alex asked if he'd heard everything. Liam confirmed it, promising that he'd been guarding the door and no one else would ever know. Alex paused, then looked up into Liam's eyes, a faint smile touching his lips as he thanked him for his trouble. Liam visibly relaxed. Alex took the phone, pocketing it as they walked. He was planning a move and asked Liam to find a moving company for him, but then changed his mind, saying it was just his things. Liam's reaction was sharp, his eyes brightening for a second before dimming again. He asked if Alex was no longer living with Mr. Hayes. Alex confirmed it. A flicker of hope appeared in Liam's eyes as he asked if he was now single. Alex let out a surprised laugh and was about to change the subject when his phone rang. The caller ID read Ethan Hayes. After a moment's hesitation, he answered. He curtly asked what he wanted. Ethan demanded to know why he hadn't answered his calls. Alex was about to hang up when Ethan spoke again, insisting he needed to tell him something. He said Alex should apologize to Caleb's mother. A cold grip tightened around Alex's heart. He scoffed, asking why. Ethan explained that 3 years ago, Alex had used her to threaten Caleb into breaking up with him. He acknowledged it was in the past, but he still hoped Alex would apologize. He asked if that was all. Ethan confirmed it, then asked when Alex would be off work, saying he had made dinner. Alex laughed out loud. He asked Ethan if Caleb had ever told him whose money his mother and he had been living on all these years. He stated that even if he had sent that woman to a mental institution, it would have been what she deserved. He then told Ethan not to call him again. It was over between them. On the way to the parking lot, Liam kept stealing glances at Alex's face. Once in the car, Alex instructed him to drop him off at a hotel and then take the car home. Liam fastened his seatbelt but made no move to start the car. Alex turned to look at him. Sensing his gaze, Liam met his eyes. He told him it wasn't a good idea for him to be alone in a hotel right now. After a moment, Alex joked, asking if he was afraid he would do something stupid. Liam denied it, saying he was worried Alex's stomach would hurt and there would be no one to take care of him. Alex insisted he didn't need anyone and told him to drive. But Liam said he wanted to take care of him. He wanted to take him home. In the ensuing silence, Alex was the first to look away. Liam's gaze was too direct, filled with a sincerity he couldn't reciprocate and a weight he couldn't bear. Alex stared into the middle distance, his voice low. He told Liam that since he knew his situation, he should cut his losses now. But Liam countered that he didn't consider loving him a loss. Alex closed his eyes, 2 words popping into his head. Stubborn fool. He warned Liam that if he didn't listen now, he would suffer later. A soft laugh sounded beside him. Liam noted that Alex was thinking about his future. He had figured him out. Alex hated being indebted to anyone. Even those who had hurt him, he would repay in kind. Alex turned to him, frowning. Liam's smile didn't waver. He explained that everything he did was voluntary. Even if Alex couldn't return his feelings, he owed him nothing. He shouldn't feel burdened. Alex's face hardened. He asked if Liam was an idiot. Liam gave him a bright smile. He said he wasn't, that he knew what he was doing and could anticipate the outcome. Before, he could only watch. But to just watch now would drive him crazy. Alex eyed him skeptically, asking what would happen if he went crazy. Liam shrugged, admitting he didn't know, but he was sure Alex wouldn't have the heart to see it. He asked Alex to ignore his feelings and just treat him as a friend or a subordinate trying to curry favor. When Alex didn't speak, Liam unbuckled his seatbelt, leaned closer, and gently shook his arm, pleading. Alex looked at him with a sigh of resignation. Liam asked if he knew what he looked like right now. He said he didn't, but he knew Alex's heart was softening. He pointed at Alex's eyes, saying he had seen it just now, a flash of gentleness. After a long silence, Alex lowered his gaze. Liam pressed, asking him to agree just as friends. Liam nodded obediently. As the car began to move, Liam spoke in a conversational tone, asking if Alex had noticed that throughout their long conversation, he hadn't used the formal Mr. Thorne. Alex admitted he hadn't. Liam asked if he wanted to know why. Because it was after work hours. Alex let out a small laugh and asked why he still called him boss then. Liam glanced at him, the corner of his mouth lifting. That was different. Even after hours, Alex was still his boss. Alex smiled, relaxing and closing his eyes. He suggested that after work, Liam should just use his name. Alex Thorne, Liam tested. He paused. I'd like to call you Ash. Whatever you want. Liam's voice was filled with a smile. Yeah. Liam's apartment was clean, spacious, and bright. The balcony was filled with lush green plants, each with a small tag meticulously hung on it. A leather-bound notebook on a plant stand detailed the watering and fertilizing schedule for each one. Alex crouched in front of a thriving orchid, a smile on his face. Liam had brought many orchids to his office, always claiming he'd found a flower shop having a sale. A phone ringing pulled him from his thoughts. He saw it was Ethan and immediately declined the call and blocked the number. When he returned to the living room, Liam handed him a glass of warm water before hurrying back to the kitchen. Alex started to go help but stopped when he heard Liam talking on the phone. He was saying he hadn't eaten yet, that he was making dinner for 2 tonight. He told the person on the other end to congratulate him, that he had finally brought him home. He begged them not to visit, afraid they would scare him away. He asked his mom if their housekeeper, Maria, could come help for a couple of days, or at least give him a recipe book with nutritious, easily digestible meals that also tasted good. He assured her he was learning and said to give his love to his dad before hanging up. Liam started cooking, and Alex, standing at the doorway, decided not to go in after all. An hour later, Liam called him to dinner. 3 dishes and a soup. Shrimp scampi, sautéed spinach, and a simple chicken and vegetable soup. After tasting each dish, he heard Liam ask if it was good. He nodded. He ate quietly, but soon Liam asked if his stomach was bothering him. Alex paused, realizing his expression must have been too serious. He smiled and told him it wasn't, that he should eat. After dinner, Liam asked him directly if there was something he wanted to say. After some thought, Alex asked how Liam usually treated his friends. Liam explained it depended on the type of friend. He had casual friends, regular friends, and good friends. Alex got serious and asked which category he fell into. A fourth one, Liam said, a category that had just been created today. Before Alex could speak, Liam popped a piece of fruit tart into his mouth, his grin widening. He said it was his first time having a friend like Alex, so he asked for his patience if he did things wrong. Alex just called him a little rascal. His stomach had been in knots all night, and he only managed to fall asleep near dawn. Consequently, he didn't hear Liam knocking on his door in the morning. Panicked, Liam opened the door and rushed in. Seeing Alex's pale face, he fell silent. He knelt by the bed, his hand trembling as he reached out to check for his breath. Alex reached out from under the covers, grabbed his hand, and pushed it away before slowly opening his eyes. Liam looked like he was about to cry, his eyes red-rimmed. Alex's mind was still fuzzy. Without thinking, he raised a hand to Liam's face, his thumb gently brushing under his eye. He was alive, he told him, no crying. Liam immediately held back his tears, but his face turned beet red. Great, now the kid was embarrassed. Alex sighed and covered his eyes with his arm, murmuring for him to go out, that he'd be up soon. Because of this, they were almost late for work. They hit traffic, and by the time they reached the office parking garage, they were 20 minutes late. Liam, with a serious face, asked if he was going to dock his pay. Alex laughed as he unbuckled his seatbelt, telling him to go ahead and to have HR write him up too. The moment he got out of the car, his smile vanished. Ethan emerged from behind another vehicle, his face dark, his eyes bloodshot. The second Liam saw him, he fell silent, slammed his car door, and ran to stand in front of Alex, shielding him. He said that while he didn't know why they broke up, Alex had made it clear it was over. For Ethan to show up and corner him was wrong. He told Alex to give the word, and he would take care of him. Liam was already in a fighting stance. Alex gently tugged on his raised arm, but it didn't budge. Resigned, he squeezed the back of his neck. Liam let out a soft sound. Alex told him to go upstairs, but Liam insisted Ethan looked dangerous. Alex smiled faintly, assuring him that if Ethan started something, he would finish it. He told him again to go upstairs to listen to him. Reluctantly, Liam left, looking back every few steps. After watching him get into the elevator, Alex turned to Ethan and asked what he wanted. Ethan demanded to know why he hadn't answered his phone. Alex retorted, asking why he should. He questioned if Ethan had spent the night with his assistant. Did it matter to him? Alex had waited for him all night. A cold laugh escaped Alex. So what? Had he asked him to wait? H.D. Who didn't understand the word over. Ethan was no longer the calm, composed man he once was. His chest heaved as he took a heavy step forward. He said Alex couldn't just decide it was over. Oh? So what did he want? It was Alex who had pursued him, and now he was giving him his freedom. He should be happy. No, that wasn't right. Ethan was flustered, incoherent. That wasn't it at all. He wasn't talking about freedom. It was too sudden. He asked why Alex was suddenly acting this way. Alex frowned in disbelief. Sudden? He had waited for Ethan for 3 days. Or rather, he had waited for 3 years. Ethan's grave expression flickered with a moment of confusion. Alex didn't want to say more. He turned to leave but was grabbed by the arm. Ethan took a few deep breaths, his voice strained. He said he could explain that nothing had happened with Caleb those 3 days. Alex pulled his arm free, laughing softly. Did it matter to him? He'd already made it clear that night. He had no feelings for him anymore. Even sleeping with him that night, he felt nothing. He was absolutely certain. He didn't love him anymore. At all. The color drained from Ethan's face. His throat worked, but no words came out. Alex asked if he couldn't do this. He had forced him, yes, but now he was setting him free. So why was he coming back, saying strange things? Ethan's face remained a tense mask of silence. Alex nodded with understanding. He wanted compensation. Fine. The apartment he was living in was worth $30 million. It was his. Alex. The roar echoed in the garage. Alex looked at him calmly. If not money, then what did he want? After a few seconds of silence, Alex raised an eyebrow. Surely he didn't still want his love? Ethan's pupils constricted as if he'd been stung. Alex laughed, a sound full of mockery. He waved a dismissive hand and turned to leave. The apartment was his, a parting gift for his emotional distress. From now on, they owed each other nothing. As soon as he sat down in his office, Liam burst in like a whirlwind. He grabbed Alex's shoulders, pulling him up from his leather chair and started patting him down from head to toe. Alex asked what he was doing. The light touches traveled down to his ankles and back up, not even sparing the palms and backs of his hands. Finally, Liam let out a long breath, relieved that he was okay. A weary smile touched Alex's lips. He asked if Liam had rushed in just for this. Liam nodded. Alex was too good at hiding his pain. Even though he looked fine, Liam was still worried. He placed a warm hand on Alex's stomach, asking if it hurt. Alex shook his head slightly. The hand moved to his heart. And here, Liam looked at him intently, his eyes as clear as a spring. In that breath, Alex understood what he was asking. It didn't hurt. It was just empty. He gave a small, forced smile and pushed Liam's hand away, sitting back down. He told him to stop overthinking and get back to work. Liam lowered his head and mumbled an okay, but didn't move. Alex looked at him, asking if there was something else. There was. He told him to say it. Liam cleared his throat and began slowly, explaining that he had ordered some clothes and shoes for him last night and had them scheduled for delivery to his place at 7 tonight. Also, a chef was coming to his house tonight. She was an excellent cook. Liam's voice grew quieter. He finally asked if Alex would come home with him again tonight. Alex put down the file he was holding and looked at him, a half smile on his face. He asked if Liam was trying to keep him. Liam shook his head. It was just friends looking out for each other. Friends. Alex chewed on the word, leaning back in his chair, his expression neutral. He asked how long Liam intended to take care of him. Until the day he no longer needed him. And would he cry on that day? No. But he had cried that morning. Liam had eyes that couldn't lie. They held each other's gaze for a moment before Liam looked down, his thick lashes hiding his dark eyes. After a long silence, he took a soft breath, a bitter smile on his lips. He knew he couldn't fool him, but if he actually listened to him and stayed away, he would regret it for the rest of his life. In fact, he wouldn't just cry on that day. If he had to watch every day, unable to do anything, he would cry then too. He would think of him constantly. He would cry thinking about him not eating, not sleeping, being in pain with no one by his side. He cried that morning because he regretted not meeting him before Ethan did. There were so many things he hadn't told him, so many places they hadn't traveled, so many people he hadn't introduced him to. He wasn't demanding a specific outcome. He just wanted to be by his side, one day at a time. Wouldn't he cry being by his side? Liam looked up abruptly. He had been so engrossed in his speech that he hadn't noticed Alex had moved to stand in front of him. Liam grabbed the hand that was wiping away his tears, his red-rimmed eyes holding a layer of moisture, his dark pupils wet and bright. He asked if Alex was softening toward him again. Alex didn't speak, his gaze shifting away as he used his other hand to wipe a tear from Liam's chin. Liam suddenly smiled and wrapped his arms around him, resting his chin on Alex's shoulder. His heartbeat thudded against Alex's chest. He was so happy. Alex raised his hand, then let it fall. He knew. He stayed at Liam's for a week and found a surprising sense of peace. His workload decreased daily, half of it delegated to his second-in-command, Myra, and the other half to Liam. He discovered Liam had an impressive aptitude for analysis and decision-making. He'd always thought of him as a good assistant, but now he saw the potential for a great leader. He was tired, he said. Liam looked up from a mountain of files, the usual light in his eyes dimmed. Alex added a splash of water to his tea and pushed the cup towards him, asking if he'd learned everything he'd been taught that day. Liam grabbed the cup, leaned back, and took a sip. He remarked on how much work it was to be the boss. Alex shot him a look, probing. From the sound of it, Liam didn't want to be a boss. So who would inherit his family's company? Liam looked at him and waved a hand dismissively. His older brother and sister-in-law ran the company. His dad hadn't retired yet. The only place the company needed him was in R&D. Surprise, he said, he'd been moonlighting. Alex remembered his major was software engineering. A company in that field with the family name White. His father was Peter White. Liam's eyes lit up. Alex knew of him? Alex nodded. A very famous entrepreneur. Liam grew animated. His dad was Peter White. His brother was Daniel White. His mom was Evelyn Reed. His sister-in-law was Sarah Chun. He had grandparents too, and they all knew about Alex. Alex looked at him, amused. Knew what about him? Liam's gaze darted away as he mumbled that they knew he liked him. After a moment of silence, Alex asked softly if they didn't object. Liam frowned. Of course not. They liked him too. His brother had always admired him. His parents had asked just yesterday when he was bringing him home for dinner. And half the clothes he'd secretly bought for him were picked out by his sister-in-law. As he listened, Alex found himself drifting off. Liam suddenly appeared in front of him, spinning his chair around and crouching down. He asked what was wrong, his voice laced with concern. The sound snapped Alex back to reality. He smiled. Nothing. It was just a little overwhelming to receive so much affection all at once. Liam rested his hands on Alex's knees, his expression turning somber. He asked if he was adding to his burden. Alex laughed, pulling him up by the arms. He told him not to be ridiculous to get his things. It was time to leave. Liam's mood shifted as quickly as it came, and he was back to being a cheerful puppy. On the way home, he dragged Alex into a supermarket. As they were walking to the car after checking out, he leaned in close to Alex's ear and whispered that he thought they were being followed. Alex stopped and looked around but saw no one suspicious. After dinner, Liam took him for a walk in a nearby park. Soon Alex felt it too. They were definitely being followed. He exchanged a look with Liam, a guess forming in his mind. He asked if Liam thought it was him. He wasn't sure. He had already instructed his lawyer to handle the transfer of the apartment he'd promised Ethan. There was no reason for him to seek him out again. He tugged on Liam's sleeve, suggesting they walk a little longer. But they hadn't gone far when a sharp pain twisted in his stomach. He froze, a frown creasing his brow. Liam looked down at him, then immediately bent down and lifted him onto his back, starting to walk back. It felt like a hand was tearing at his insides. He lay limply on Liam's back, the warmth from Liam's body making the cold, sticky gaze from behind feel even more pronounced. In a daze, he thought he heard someone call his name. Alex Thorne. The painkillers were losing their effectiveness. Liam stayed up with him most of the night. The next morning, Liam knelt by his bed and asked if he could wear sunglasses to work. Alex opened his eyes, took a moment to process, then reached up and took the sunglasses off his face. He didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Liam's beautiful puppy dog eyes were swollen. Alex sighed and gently touched his cheek with the back of his hand. He'd said he wouldn't cry if he stayed by his side. Liam grabbed his hand and lowered his head, his voice muffled. He felt so useless. "Liam," Alex said softly. Liam's head shot up. Alex smiled. "Can I call you that?" Liam stared at him, then nodded blankly. Alex sat up, took the sunglasses from his hand, and put them back on Liam's face. He told him not to talk down on himself, that he was very capable, both as his assistant and as his friend. He was very satisfied. He told him to go to the office in the morning to hand things over to Myra, then take the afternoon off, which he would approve, and come back to rest. After Liam left, Alex tidied up and called his lawyer, Ben Carter. Ben had been with him for nearly 10 years and was a trusted confidant. He spent the morning sorting through his assets. Some important documents were still in the apartment he had given to Ethan. He asked Ben if the new deed was ready. Ben nodded, saying he'd just gotten it yesterday and it was at the office. He offered to deliver it to Mr. Hayes that afternoon. Alex told him not to give it directly to Liam at the office to bring to him. It was almost 6 in the evening when Liam returned. He came right up to Alex and made him look at his eyes, asking if they were back to normal. Alex held his face, examining it from side to side. He teased that he seemed to have gotten younger. Liam grinned. To reduce the swelling quickly, he had his sister-in-law take him to a beauty salon for a facial. As Liam turned, Alex caught the property deed in his hand. He took it from him, his face straight, and said he was praising him, then told him to let go, that he had to go out. He said not to wait for him for dinner. But Liam didn't listen. He snatched the car keys and strode ahead. He was driving him. Alex had Liam wait downstairs. He went up and stood at the door for a full minute before ringing the bell. It rang 3 times with no answer. After a moment's hesitation, he tried the fingerprint scanner. The door opened. The apartment was dim, laid out just as he remembered, even his slippers in the same spot. But the air was thick with the smell of alcohol. He switched on the lights and walked further in, seeing Ethan slumped against the bar cart, surrounded by empty bottles. He looked disheveled, his eyes red, a ghost of his former elegant self. He looked up at Alex, his voice hoarse. He was back. Alex frowned. At this time, Ethan should have just gotten off work. He asked if he hadn't gone to work today. He regretted the words as soon as they left his mouth. He shouldn't have asked. Ethan said he'd been waiting for him. Alex paused, then ignored him and walked straight to the study. The documents were in the safe. He put them in a folder. When he came out, Ethan was blocking the doorway. His face hardened. He told him to move. Ethan didn't budge, his dark gaze slowly roving over Alex's body. He'd lost weight. Alex looked away, repeating his demand more coldly. Ethan paid him no mind, even taking a step closer. He knew what Alex must have felt during those 3 days. It was agonizing, hopeless, painful. Listening to his obsessive murmuring, Alex felt a surge of irritation. His stomach started cramping again, the pain sharp and sudden. He took a shallow breath, holding onto his temper. He'd left the deed on the table. If he was drunk, he should go to sleep and stop blocking the way. Alex, Ethan suddenly reacted, his face contorted in pain. I don't want the apartment. I don't want compensation. I don't want any of those things. Alex's patience was gone, the pain intensifying. He took a deep breath and tried to sidestep him. Then throw it away. His arm was suddenly yanked. Ethan stared at him, enunciating each word. Alex Thorne, I don't want anything. I just want you back. Alex closed his eyes, his fingertips digging into his palms to maintain his composure. He told Ethan he wasn't in the mood for jokes right now. He wasn't joking. Ethan's shout startled him, his grip so tight it felt like it would crush his arm. He pleaded for Alex to come back, to talk things through, to clear up any misunderstandings. Talk about what? What was there to talk about? The pain and emotion peaked, and Alex yelled back. It's over. Don't you understand? I don't love you anymore. Ethan. Is over. Ethan slowly rolled the words "don't love you" in his mind, a strange, twisted smile appearing on his face. Alex Thorne, we were together for 3 years. How can you just say you don't love me anymore? Is it because of that Liam White? Is it? Alex stared at him, a mixture of shock and fury. That's bullshit. Ethan was like a madman now, his expression distorted as he laughed. Alex struggled to pull his arm free, but Ethan grabbed both his wrists. You say you have no feelings for me. Then who do you have feelings for? For Liam? You found a new option, so you're kicking me out, is that it? But I don't agree. I don't agree. Ethan suddenly lunged, dragging him inside. What are you doing? Ethan. The world blurred. Ethan threw him onto the sofa, pinning his legs with his knee and pressing down on him. What am I doing? You said you have no feelings? Then let's find them again. I was gone for 3 days, you were gone for 10. We're even. From now on, no one mentions it. Ethan. Alex summoned all his strength and slapped him across the face. Get a fucking grip. Ethan paused for a second, then slowly turned his head back, his lower body still pinning Alex down. He grabbed the front of his shirt. I am perfectly clear. A tearing sound. A button flew off the shirt, clattering against the hardwood floor. The sound hammered against Alex's eardrums. Suddenly, he felt like he'd lost the ability to speak. Hands roamed his body, a wet heat on his neck, teeth sinking into his skin like a venomous snake injecting cold poison. The pain drained his strength, but rage coursed through his veins. In that moment, he felt a sense of impending collapse. The hands moved lower. His stomach spasmed violently, as if being pierced by 1,000 needles. He wanted to curl into a ball, but Ethan held him down, pinning him relentlessly. His breath felt like it was laced with blood. Without, something surged up his throat. He clapped a hand over his mouth. A sweet, metallic taste filled his senses, rushing to escape. Crimson seeped through his fingers, dripping down the back of his hand. He weakly tried to push Ethan away, forcing a word from his throat. Get off. The scent of blood filled the air. Ethan's movements stopped. He lifted his head, staring at Alex, his face a blank slate. Get off. A loud bang, the front door was thrown open. Alex slowly turned his gaze towards the entrance. Liam stood there, frozen by the scene, his mouth open but no sound coming out. The moment his eyes met Alex's, he rushed forward, yanking Ethan off and throwing him to the floor. His hands trembled as he reached for Alex. You said you were just coming up to get something. How did it come to this? I'm sorry. Ash, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have let you come up alone. Tears streamed down Liam's face. Alex felt a surge of panic, wanting to say something to comfort him. But the moment he opened his mouth, a gush of fresh blood poured out, staining Liam's white shirt. Alex frantically tried to wipe it away, only making it worse. He curled his fingers into a fist, pulling his hand back, gasping for breath as blood continued to spill from his mouth. Impossible to contain. He turned his head away, trying to move, but Liam held him tightly, gathering him into his arms. His steady arms couldn't hide a slight tremor. "It's me, Liam. Don't pull away, okay?" A hot tear traced a path down Liam's jaw and landed on Alex's brow. Then another and another, washing away the blood on his face. He almost forgot. Liam wouldn't find him dirty. He stopped fighting, leaning limply against his chest, weakly clutching his sleeve, his voice a muddled plea. "Go, Liam, go." Ethan scrambled up from the floor, his eyes vacant, and mechanically started to follow. "Get away from him." Liam kicked Ethan hard. "You better get on your knees and pray he's okay." Ethan still followed them to the hospital, a walking ghost standing outside the emergency room. He kept glancing at Liam. Finally, he couldn't bear it anymore and numbly walked over, asking the question, "Alex, what's wrong with him?" Liam, half covered in blood, felt a surge of pure rage at the sight of his face. He grabbed Ethan's collar, raising his fist, but then he remembered Alex lying on the operating table, life uncertain. In an instant, the pain in his heart was suffocating. He gritted his teeth, lowered his fist, and shoved Ethan away, his voice a harsh whisper. "If you had just for 1 second thought about that phone call he made to you." Ethan's numb mind began to turn. A clear, cold voice grew louder, echoing in his head. "Ethan, I've been diagnosed with cancer. The doctor said." What did the doctor say? He hadn't even let him finish, letting Caleb interrupt. The realization hit Ethan like a bullet to the head. His face went white as paper. He crumpled to the floor as if his spine had been removed. Thinking about what he had done to Alex tonight, he slapped himself, hard. The past 3 years flooded back. He had resented Alex for forcing his way into his life, but Alex had silently endured all his anger, all his venting. In these 3 years, Alex had never been anything but good to him. The red in surgery light was blinding. In that moment, Ethan had to admit it. He had clung to Alex's past mistakes while arrogantly enjoying his submission. He had grown accustomed to Alex's sacrificial love. He wanted Alex to love him fiercely forever, so he deliberately used coldness to control him, shamefully used Caleb to test him, despicably manipulated his emotions to suppress him. It turned out he was the one who would do anything to get what he wanted. The light went out. The doors opened. Medical staff wheeled an unconscious Alex out, heading for the ICU. Liam hurried after them, not noticing the soulless figure of Ethan trailing behind. When the staff emerged from the room, Liam's older brother, Daniel, arrived with the rest of the family. Liam felt a small measure of relief and stepped aside to let them in. He then followed the lead doctor to his office. A 20-minute conversation sent his heart plummeting. He returned, fraught with worry, to find Ethan standing at the door. The sight sent a fresh wave of anger through him. He rushed over and pushed him away. "What are you still doing here?" Liam was like a cornered wolf, his gaze feral, his fists clenched. But Ethan seemed oblivious, his voice flat. "I want to see him." "See him? What right do you have to see him now?" Ethan stared at the small glass window on the door, his reply disconnected. "I love him." Those 3 words ignited Liam's fury. He grabbed his collar and dragged him to the stairwell. "You have the guts to say that again." Ethan lifted his eyes, his gaze as calm as still water. I love him. The words had barely left his mouth when Liam's fist connected with his face. His voice shook with rage. You love him? When he gave you his whole heart, why didn't you say you loved him? When he was healthy, why didn't you say you loved him? When he called you from the hospital, why the fuck didn't you say you loved him? With each question, Liam landed another brutal punch. His eyes red with a grief-stricken fury that disregarded Ethan's well-being. Now that he's sick, you know you love him? Now that he doesn't want you, you know you love him? What fucking right do you have to say you love him? Ethan had been hanging limply, taking the blows, but the word right seemed to strike a nerve. He suddenly fought back, landing a punch on the corner of Liam's mouth. And what right do you have? If you knew he was sick, why didn't you get him treatment? What right do you have to talk about love? Liam was nearly driven mad by the absurd accusation. He tasted blood in his mouth and aimed a vicious kick at Ethan's knee. You think I didn't want to? Do you have any idea how painful the treatment is? Without family or friends for support, it's a hopeless torment. The cure rate is less than 30%. It's highly likely all that suffering would be for nothing. He can endure a lot of pain, but he never said he wasn't afraid. He placed what little trust and hope he had left in you. And what did you do? You let someone else curse him to die. And that someone your first love, right? The same woman whose mother drove Alex's mother to her death. And what did you do? You told Alex to apologize to her mother. Ethan, who had been leaning against the wall for support, couldn't stand any longer. He slumped to his knees, tears falling unnoticed to the ground. He knew it then. He had no right to say those 3 words. The only thing he could say was, I'm sorry. When I regained consciousness, it was the evening of the next day. I opened my eyes to see a beautiful woman. Her eyes were familiar, and her smile even more so. I managed a weak smile back. Hello, Mrs. White. Hello to you too, sweetheart. Sweetheart. It had been almost 20 years since anyone had called me that. In a daze, I watched as she went to the balcony, patted Liam on the arm after he hung up the phone, and whispered, asking what his uncle had said. Liam, with his back partially to me, frowned. He said his uncle told him it was difficult and that he needed to see the patient in person. Mrs. White patted his arm reassuringly. Go on in. He's awake. Liam immediately turned his head. The moment our eyes met, a smile spread across his face. He told his mom to go home, that he had it covered. Mrs. White looked at me, pointed to the thermal container on the bedside table, made a gesture for drinking soup, and then waved goodbye. Just as I tried to sit up, Liam was already by my bed, kneeling, his hands slipping under the covers to take mine. Are you uncomfortable anywhere? I shook my head, my gaze falling on his bruised lip. You fought. Liam was silent for a second before admitting it. In the stairwell, he'd paid for the medical bills, but the other guy hadn't taken the money. A small smile touched my lips. I changed the subject. My condition. What did the doctor say? He said the bleeding was mostly from stress. Liam, you know that's not what I'm asking. He lowered his head, his eyelashes trembling, his throat working before he could speak. The doctor said, it's already started to spread. Without treatment, 3 months at most. I squeezed his hand and smiled. 3 months. That's a long time. After a long silence, Liam looked up, his voice choked with emotion. Are you sure? I reached out and gently wiped away a tear from the corner of his eye. Yes. I don't want to gamble anymore. On the second day, the company's executives came to visit. I only told Myra the truth. Usually stern and all business, her eyes reddened. I made an unusual request. I told her Liam would become the company's largest shareholder, but he didn't like the stress and would likely be a hands-off owner. I asked her to please take on more of the company's affairs. After explaining, I handed her a pre-prepared CR card, a small token for her hard work. Myra, holding her purse with one hand, kept the other behind her back, making no move to take it. She assured me that I had trained her, and she knew what to do. Then, she wiped her eyes and left without looking back. I sighed and handed the card to Ben, asking him to find a chance to give it to her. On the third day, I got a call from an unknown number. Recognizing Caleb's voice, I hung up. But that afternoon, he appeared at the door of my room. He couldn't get in because Ethan, who had been standing guard outside my door day and night since I woke up, blocked him. They seemed to be arguing, the volume escalating. I had Liam let Caleb in. He looked like a ghost, like he was on something. "You have 2 minutes." Caleb's neck was stiff. "You're not going to take care of Dad anymore?" I replied without emotion. If I recall correctly, I gave him a card with $1 million on it. "What, did you and your mother spend it all already?" Caleb's eyes darted away. "What card?" I never saw any card. After a couple of seconds of silence, I laughed softly. "No card, then no card. Time's up. Get out. Alex Thorne, you can't take that money with you to the grave. You might as well give it to someone who can use it." Liam lunged forward, but I stopped him with a raised hand. I spoke slowly. "Someone useful. What use are you? You needed 20 million to study abroad. I gave it to you. What did you do with it? A new man every 2 months? And when you partied too hard to stop, you came back. Dare you tell the man at the door the real reason you're here?" Caleb's pupils constricted. I smiled gently. "I can't take the money with me, but I can send you to rehab. Want to try?" Caleb's face went pale, his eyes frantic. He blustered, "Alex Thorne, don't you fucking threaten me. You'll get what's coming to you." Before he could finish, Ethan rushed in and dragged him out. Half an hour later, Liam went to check. He stood at the door and gave me a look. I nodded, telling him to leave too. 2 minutes later, Liam came back in and knelt by the bed. "He won't leave." "Fine." Liam was quiet for a moment, then added, "He also asked me to tell you something." "What?" He said he's sorry. I glanced toward the door, then looked away. "I know," I said softly. "On my last day in the hospital, I spent the morning organizing all my work. I had Liam take it to the office to finalize the handover with Myra. While he was gone that afternoon, I had Ben come to write my will. Ben handed me the list of my assets for review. I couldn't help but laugh to myself. In just half a lifetime, I had made so much. Ben asked for my wishes. I closed the folder, my voice calm. Upon my death, all my assets are to be bequeathed to Liam White. The next day, upon discharge, I saw Ethan still standing guard outside. His face was still bruised. Our eyes met, but nothing was said. He followed us, maintaining a distance of about 5 paces, all the way to the parking garage, watching me get into the car. The window was half down. After a few seconds of hesitation, I turned to look out. Ethan's face was streaked with tears. He took a stiff step forward, his lips forming the word "I," before he broke down into sobs. A few seconds later, he stumbled back a step, looking at me through blurry eyes, and managed to say, "Alex Thorne, goodbye." I nodded slightly. Goodbye. This was how it was supposed to end between us. Liam said he was taking me to a place with beautiful mountains and clear water. After a 3-hour drive, we arrived at a farmhouse halfway up a mountain. It was his grandparents' home. After lunch, Liam took me for a walk. Standing on a hilltop, he swept his arm across the vista and declared proudly that this entire tea plantation belonged to their family. I laughed and asked him where the clear water was. He took my hand and led me back, out the back door of the courtyard, and pointed to a fish pond. There, I think it's pretty clear. I laughed out loud and raised an eyebrow, asking if he had a fishing rod. A mischievous glint appeared in his bright eyes. His grandpa had one in his room. He was going to go steal a $200,000 fishing rod for me. He actually stole it. Or rather, his grandfather brought it out himself. Unfortunately, we hadn't been fishing long before it started to rain. We had to return to the front yard and sit under the eaves, watching the downpour. Liam said he was going to his room to get me a jacket. Just as he left, his grandmother came over, carrying a small table in one hand and a large plate of fried fish in the other. Soon, she brought out fried meatballs and fried lotus root patties. As she brought the fourth plate of snacks, she ran into Liam coming down the wooden stairs. Liam immediately frowned, put an arm around his grandmother's shoulders, and turned her around. "Grandma, his stomach is weak. Don't give him all this oily food. Then what should he eat?" His grandmother protested, swatting his arm. "He's so thin, it breaks my heart to see him. He barely ate at lunch. What can he eat? I'll go make him something else." No, it's fine. Eating too much will just make him uncomfortable. When he's better, you can make him 8 meals a day, okay?" She swatted him again. I lowered my head and smiled, picking up a small crispy fish and popping it in my mouth, chewing slowly. It was delicious. Just as I reached for a second one, a jacket settled on my shoulders. Liam stood behind me, leaned down, and snatched the small fish from my hand with his mouth. I gave him a sideways glance. "If you want one, get it yourself." Liam laughed and took out a tissue to wipe my hands. "Didn't you just say your stomach was hurting when we were fishing? And now you're eating this? Well, it's too good. It hurts, but I still want to eat it. Otherwise, I might not get the chance again." Liam's bedroom was surprisingly cozy. I leaned against the doorframe, watching him skillfully change the duvet cover. "You sure you want me to sleep in the same bed as you?" He fluffed the duvet. "You're not a guest. Of course, you're sleeping in my room. Besides, if you're not feeling well at night, I'll know right away." And then what? He turned around, a bright smile on his face. "Then I can rub your stomach." Grandma told me. She even gave me a hot water bottle. I smiled but didn't say anything. After showering and getting into bed, Liam had already placed the filled hot water bottle between us and was holding my hand against it to test the temperature. "Is it warm enough?" But in truth, the hand on top of mine was much warmer. I usually sleep on my side. When I woke up naturally in the morning, I found an arm draped over my waist, my entire body held in Liam's embrace. As I became fully conscious, I noticed an exceptional heat at the small of my back. 1 second I was thinking how well this hot water bottle retained heat, and the next I realized it couldn't be. A hot water bottle wouldn't be this hard. I kept my eyes closed, a helpless smile on my face. A moment later, I felt a nuzzle at the back of my neck and a rubbing against my lower back. On the third gentle rub, the person behind me froze. A second later, Liam shot out of bed and rushed into the bathroom. It wasn't until I heard the bathroom door open that I sat up. "Aren't you going to sleep a little longer?" Liam's face was still a bit red. I lowered my eyes and smiled faintly. "No, the heat woke me up." "Then, I'll go downstairs and make you breakfast." He then fled. When I looked up, all I saw was the tip of an ear that was red enough to bleed. First thing in the morning, I'd acquired a flustered puppy. The days in the mountains passed peacefully. One day, I'd pick tea with his grandmother. The next, I'd fish with his grandfather. The day after, I'd explore nearby attractions with Liam. Before I knew it, half a month had gone by. If it weren't for the sudden vomiting of blood this morning, I would have almost forgotten I only had 2 or 3 months left. When Liam came upstairs to call me for breakfast, I had just finished rinsing the sink. Looking at him in the mirror, I softly negotiated, asking if I could skip breakfast this morning. Liam averted his gaze, took a dry towel, and began to dry my hands, his voice muffled. Okay, no breakfast. After we left the bathroom, Liam said he was going downstairs to get something. I nodded and curled up on the sofa to wait for him. In a daze, I heard the door open. When I opened my eyes, Liam was kneeling in front of me, his eyes predictably red, his nose too. I looked away and asked quietly what he had brought from downstairs. Liam raised an eyebrow and smiled. Some light reading for you. He then produced a brown leather notebook from behind his back. I had Mom mail it. It just arrived this morning. I took it, gently opening the cover. What's it about? I asked with a smile. Liam bit his lip, looking a little embarrassed. He stood up, took a nearby throw blanket and covered me with it, murmuring for me to see for myself. The first page had a single sentence. I hate writing, but I like the name Alex Thorne a lot. Below this sentence were many versions of my name. Alex Thorne himself was now tracing them with his finger, counting them one by one. Page after page, there were 1,097 of them. He turned another page and the main text began. No. 1. Today was a good day. Mr. Thorne brought his team to our university for a recruitment talk. But he only made a brief appearance on stage and then came to the audience, happening to sit right next to me. God, he smells so good, like the clean scent of tea leaves soaked in morning mist. Note, kinda makes me want to go back to the mountains and help my grandma pick tea. Mr. Thorne looks tired. The dark circles under his eyes are so obvious on his pale skin. Not even 5 minutes later, he closed his eyes and fell asleep. Okay, I endured for another 5 minutes, then I started openly staring at him. Those eyes, they are truly perfectly formed, like they were drawn with a fine brush, handsome without being aggressive. His eyelashes are thick and long, and with those little crescent moon eye bags, he has a touch of gentleness. Then there's his high-bridged nose, and below that, lips that look very kissable. I hereby declare, the person most perfectly suited to my tastes in the entire world has appeared. No. 2. After that day, I decided to follow him. I wanted to be his assistant, but he already had one. I'm very sorry, but I had to use some methods. I secretly contacted his assistant, Lynn, and after discussing it with my brother, I poached her for our family's company with a higher salary and gave her a substantial severance package to keep quiet. Everything went smoothly. Lynn resigned soon after, and I submitted my resume to his company, aiming straight for the executive assistant position. After 3 rounds of interviews and a final one with him, I got it. No. 3. Mr. Thorne is so competent. Going into negotiations with him is exhilarating. Honestly, I would pay to have this job. My dad asked if I was coming back. I told him no. I found my boss, and I'm sticking with him for life. Note, my sister-in-law saw my social media posts and said I seemed too happy at work. Word got back to my dad, who thought I was too idle. So now I'm stuck with the R&D department's overflow work. It's fine. Might as well be useful. No, for damn it, I found out Mr. Thorne is seeing someone. His lips are busted every other day. I'm annoyed, jealous, and I want to go crazy. No. 5. I can't take it anymore. Today, I secretly followed him. Turns out the guy he's with looks decent enough. But he gave Mr. Thorne a cold shoulder. Figures. The one who is loved is always the one who is reckless. I'm sad, but I don't want to leave. At least in this position, I can be with him during the day. Stay, Liam. Okay. No. 6. After long-term observation, I've realized Mr. Thorne doesn't seem happy in this relationship. I followed him again. This time I saw them arguing. They almost came to blows. I held back barely from rushing in. Couldn't sleep that night. The more I thought about it, the more I felt something was wrong with their relationship. But what can I do? I don't even have the right to ask. No. 7. Mr. Thorne is unhappy more and more often. I'm so anxious. The only thing I can do is help him with as much work as possible when we're together during the day. He smiles at me. Note, he looks so good when he smiles. Super handsome. Another note. I wish he would smile at me every day. He praises my work ethic, my attention to detail. Sometimes when he travels without me, he even brings me back gifts. Maybe it's not so bad just staying by his side like this. No. 8. I'm not content. Because he's not happy. Daily question. When will he dump that guy? No. 9. My world has collapsed. Mr. Thorne has cancer. Late stage. What can I do for him? My heart aches. I can't sleep. No. 10. I called my uncle. He also said it would be difficult. My mom went to the temple. I went the next day. After offering incense, I knelt before the Buddha. I remembered a fortune teller I met as a child who said I would live to be 90. I'm 25 this year. Mr. Thorne is 30. So I prayed to the Buddha. Liam White is willing to trade 30 years of his life for Alex Thorne's health and longevity. Around noon, the door creaked open. Liam tiptoed in. Seeing my eyes closed, he carefully leaned over, gently lifting my arm and then placing it back down. He lifted the blanket to check on me. As he was about to leave, I raised my arm and hooked it around his neck, opening my eyes. What are you looking for? Liam froze, still leaning over, and whispered, the notebook. I squinted and smiled. Confiscated. Okay. The tips of his ears began to turn pink, his gaze shifting everywhere but at me. Shh, don't move. I gently caressed the side of his face. Let me get a good look at you. Liam obediently held still, his eyes shining like they held a small galaxy. After a long moment, I covered his eyes with my hand. Through my palm, I kissed them. His soft lashes fluttered against my skin. Liam kept his eyes closed and slowly knelt down, holding up his thumb and forefinger with a small gap between them. He asked quietly, Ash, do you like me? Just a little bit? I moved my hand away, took his 2 fingers and spread them further apart. 2 little bits, I said with a smile. Liam's gaze shifted from his fingers to my face. As he looked at me, his eyes suddenly reddened. Then can you? He trailed off, his eyes filling with tears. I knew what he wanted to say, but the cure rate was too low. I didn't want to drag him down with me, to make him suffer for nothing. I forced a small smile and wiped the tears from his eyes with the back of my hand. Liam, I want you to live a long and happy life. After that day, the stomach pain became more frequent. I spent more and more time upstairs. The spring rains came and stayed for a week. Today, the sky finally cleared. I had just finished washing up when Liam came upstairs with breakfast. There were 6 different dishes. Why so much? He pulled out a chair for me. You didn't eat at all yesterday. Grandma told me to make sure you get yesterday's nutrients back. I raised an eyebrow. So what about lunch? We're eating. Grandma said at least 8 dishes for lunch. I ate half a bowl of porridge and then put my spoon down, staring into space. Liam glanced at me, said nothing, and simply took my bowl, finishing the rest in a few quick bites. Too much left over would be hard to explain. He packed up some of the grain-based foods and took me into the woods to feed the birds. By the time we returned, the sun was fully out. I wanted to sit in the front yard for a while, but Liam covered my eyes and pushed me forward. "Where are we going?" I asked with a laugh. Liam didn't say, acting mysterious, but I could guess we were heading to the backyard. When we stopped, he finally removed his hands. "Open your eyes, Ash." I slowly opened my eyes. Next to the vegetable patch in the backyard, a new flower garden had been created. Inside the fence, all kinds of flowers were crowded together, tall and short, in more colors than I could count. Liam stood behind me, his voice soft. "Is it a little bit like the one in your memory?" A lump formed in my throat. I had to swallow twice before I could find my voice. "It's very similar." Liam hugged me from behind, resting his chin on my shoulder. "Then can you help me take care of it?" In the silence, my vision blurred. "I can't take good care of it." After a long time, Liam asked in a muffled voice, "Why?" I let out a slow breath and turned to face him. "Liam, the more you invest in me, the harder it will be for you to move on later." Liam looked away. "I don't understand." After a standoff, I gave in. "Forget it." Just as I was about to walk away, Liam grabbed my hand, his eyes also red. When he spoke, his voice was already choked with emotion. "I know. The treatment is painful. I have no right to interfere with your choice." But I looked up and cut him off. "And what about you? Clinging to a tiny bit of hope for months, only to end up with nothing. It will take you twice as long to recover. So you're afraid of being a burden to me, is that it, Ash? But I love you, so it can't be called a burden. If you get better, then our future is something we fought for together." I looked away, swallowing the lump in my throat, my voice weak. "The cure rate is less than 30%. What else would you call it but a burden? Liam, you once said that if you didn't do something, you would regret it for the rest of your life. You've done more than enough now. There's no need to go through those months of suffering. You're only 25. You'll meet many more, better people." Liam suddenly pulled me into a tight embrace, his face pressed against my temple, a hot tear soaking into my collar. "I won't. No matter how good anyone else is, it has nothing to do with me. You are the best in my heart. Actually, I lied to you. I'm very greedy. I don't just want to take care of you for a little while. I want to take care of you for a lifetime. Ash, I'm begging you. Let's just try. Please?" Liam cried for 3 days, and finally, Alex's heart softened. He agreed to go to the United States for treatment. The doctor who received them was Liam's uncle. After Alex's test results came out, his uncle scolded them both, saying that if they had come a week later, they might as well have just bought a ticket home. Liam covered Alex's ears. His uncle, exasperated, continued to lecture while arranging for Alex's admission. He then assembled a team of 3 highly experienced specialists to discuss a treatment plan. Through genetic testing, they found a target in Alex's tumor cells. The good news was that a targeted drug developed for this specific marker had just been approved in the US. The bad news was that the matching rate for this drug was less than 10%. His uncle told them to think it over carefully. Alex squeezed the hand that was trembling with anxiety under the table and smiled at his uncle. We're already here." The next day, the treatment plan was finalized. Alex's ordeal began. It was an agony beyond words. The endless pain and vomiting tormented him, leaving him breathless. In less than a month, he was skeletal. Liam lost weight too, though Alex suspected it was from crying. Every time he helped Alex clean up, Liam would hold him and cry silently. Seeing him unable to eat, he would cry. Seeing him curled up in a spasm of pain, he would cry. Midway through the treatment, Liam became stronger. He felt Alex was on the verge of giving up. The fiercely proud Alex would stare at the ceiling and cry silent tears. The moment Liam held him, his tears would flow uncontrollably, his thin chest heaving as he begged, "Liam, no more. Please." The only time in his life Liam was firm with Alex was then. No matter how Alex pleaded, his answer was always no. He even threatened him, saying that if he dared to give up, he would go jump off a bridge with rocks in his pockets, and they'd see who died first. Alex, terrified and angry, clawed at his arm like a kitten, calling him a bastard. Liam smiled and agreed, even helping him curse himself when Alex was too breathless to continue. But at least the thought of giving up was gone. Alex cried more and more. Sometimes, in a daze, he would hold Liam and call for his mother. Sometimes he would cry in his sleep. Liam felt as if Alex was crying out all the tears of his lifetime, his own included. So he firmly believed that once they got through this, their future would be filled with nothing but smiles. It seemed Liam's prayers were answered. His uncle, barely containing his excitement, told him Alex's tumor was shrinking. In that moment, Liam stared at the ceiling for 2 full minutes, forcing his tears back. With a matching rate of less than 10%, Alex was the lucky one. The autumn leaves fell. The treatment entered its final stage. When Alex proactively said he wanted to eat something, Liam couldn't help but get teary-eyed again. Alex reached out and caught the round tear, looking up at his Liam, his eyes curving into a smile. The days slipped by. The illness had not broken Alex's spirit. Under Liam's meticulous care, he was slowly regaining his strength. On a sunny day before winter set in, Liam pushed Alex to the garden downstairs to soak up the sun. Alex closed his eyes in contentment. As he stretched his arms towards the sun, in that moment, Liam felt that the seed he had personally planted had broken through its hard shell, pierced the cold, damp soil, and finally sprouted a tender shoot. His love was growing stronger. This moment was worth documenting. Liam took out his phone, captured the scene, and printed it as a wallet-sized photo to keep with him. Alex's condition continued to improve. The medication was reduced daily. His uncle's rounds became more frequent, until one day, a month later, he walked in on his nephew kissing his patient. And his patient, upon seeing him, even gave him a wink of apology. It was quite a scene. His uncle immediately made the decision, discharge. Freedom came so suddenly that neither of them slept that night. The next day, his uncle personally saw them to the hospital entrance. The driver Daniel had sent was already waiting. Alex's energy was still not what it used to be. Not long after getting in the car, he yawned and leaned against Liam's shoulder. Sunlight streamed through the window, softly illuminating his face, which now had a healthy, pearlescent glow. Liam looked down at the face that had captured his heart, and 4 words came to mind, just like the first time.